Hey guys, this is Swag Nation here coming at you with Heavy Duty Country. I just made a fire, not like super heavy duty country, but like country life and stuff. And let's focus on this fire now. I'm gonna kind of look at this fire for a minute or two, but yeah, this is kind of like the view of the lake and everything. And I just thought, since it's a cool night to start off with a relaxing video of the wilderness, kinda, and I'll do a couple outdoorsy videos and stuff, and we're gonna start off with the campfire story, and I'll start you off with one, so let's look at the fire. So, once upon a time, there was this, lumberjack. Yeah, let's go with the lumberjack. And, this lumberjack guy, he lived on his own for a good 20-30 years, He was taking care of his mother and father for a long time, and they passed away, and his younger brother and sister moved out to the big city in New York and became office workers and stuff, and he was a bit of an old-fashioned kind of guy. He liked the woods, and he had a big pickup truck and everything, and he had 3 dogs. He had a German Shepherd, a Pit Bull, and a Beagle, and a Lab. So technically he had 4 dogs. And so he lived on a giant ranch of about 1,500 acres, 15 to 2,000 acres. So he lived between 1,500 to 2,000 acre property, and this one night he took him and the dogs out on his big F-350 pickup truck diesel to go camping on his property. And so he got his tent in the back of his truck, a couple fishing poles, because he had a decently good sized pond on his property that was a private pond of his own. And so he went camping and did some fishing, caught a couple bass, caught a couple crappie and a couple catfish, and he had a good 2 days. And with going into the 3rd day, he heard a rustle sound when he was sleeping in his tent. His dogs were sleeping outside, and his dogs were on the chains and everything, and all hooked up, and the dog started barking, woo, 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 stuff. And he saw this big 10-foot creature that looked like a man. Could have been a shapeshifter or Del Fuego or something like that. I'm not very educated on the supernatural, but he saw this big 10-foot beast coming up to his tent, scratching his tent, and had these claws, and his dogs just kept barking, and this giant 10-foot beast made the most horrible, high-pitched noise you would ever have heard, and it was so high-pitched, it made his ears bleed. Now, he got his hunting rifle and his pistol on the side of his hip, and he had his hunting buck knife underneath his pillow that he sleeps with every night. And so he got his rifle out and looked around. Didn't see anything. And it sounded like it was 10 feet away from inside his tent. But then when he got outside, it sounded like it was a mile away. And he saw a bunch of tracks on his tent, it looked like human tracks, But it didn't sound like a human. It sounded like a horrifying, unsupernatural entity of a beast coming near him, wanting to hunt him. And so he went back to his house the next morning, got all of his stuff, all of his hunting equipment, got a couple of his buddies to go back to his camping spot that he was at for 2 to 3 days. And so him and his buddies came out and wanted to go hunt this thing because he has never heard this beast before. And so him and his buddies went out and tracked this beast of an animal for 2 weeks straight. And for these 2 weeks, they found the most craziest of things. They found an underground cave on his property. So there was this big slope that at the very end of his property. And mind you this, his whole property is walled off with 10-foot fencing all the way around his property, all around all 2,000 acres. So ain't nothing gonna be able to get in. And there's one gate on the whole property, and that is by his house. And so this guy found it. And there's a giant slope, as I was saying, going down, and he found this big cave that looked like it was a hole, but it stuck up a little bit. And so they went to go investigate it and found out that these were the same footprints that were by his tent. So they found where the beast lives. So they went about 100 to 200 yards away from the nest, above it, and get an vantage point on it to watch if the beast would come out or not. They could hear the beast all hours of the night, but could never catch it. And so when they finally decided to give up, the beast came out and showed itself to them. And so him and his friends let loose of all of their dogs and have the beast get chased. And so this beast was a shapeshifter or something like that. It was a shapeshifter wolf kind of thing, you know. And this man, hold up, don't shoot it. It seems friendly. And come to realize, they became friends with the beast. And as they started to learn, the beast was only being friends with it to eat it. And so forth. And they found out whenever one of his friends went into the beast's cave, they found all the missing dead bodies. And just letting you know, this town was cursed for 130 years. And every 10 years, this beast would feed. And they would feed on the weak. And when that beast came to that man's tent on that first encounter, it was wanting to kill the man. And if he didn't go back to his house and get his buddies, he would have been the next prey. The end. So I hope you guys liked that story. I don't know if it was any good or not. The plot was kind of all off and stuff. And you guys got to look at this amazing fire that I made. Kind of thing, but oh yeah. But as that was a true story, actually. Very true. My grandfather told me that story about the man and the beast on the 2,000-acre farm. And I'll go more in depth in it to make it more sense. And when that beast got caught, they killed it. And they thought the curse was over. And so they thought the beast was dead and gone for him. All gone and done. Come to realize it had kids. And so within the next 10 years, when the beast came back and they thought they killed it, and the man was too old. The man was in his 80s, had no kids. So he called up his brother and sister's kids, his nieces and his nephews, to come stay at his ranch. And none of his nieces wanted to come, none of his other nephews wanted to come but one. One of his nephews, who was like a true country boy, wanted to come and see his uncle, who he hadn't seen in the longest time. And I said, Uncle, I'll come investigate this property for you. And the same thing happened to his nephew. His nephew went camping with one of his own dogs, and for like 3 days by this cave, and found out that the only way to end the curse is to kill all the bloodline of this beast so that nobody else can die by the hands of this animal. And that's why there's the fire. And the fire is the thing that keeps it away. They tried guns, ammunition, bombs, everything. Come to realize this beast's only weakness is fire and light. It kills it. And yes, it is a wolf, but it is a vampire wolf. And it would die from fire. Fire is the thing that kills it. Now, I hope you guys liked that video. Like and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you like that story. I will come at you guys with more outdoor adventure stories, kind of like that, and everything. And like and subscribe. Peace out, guys.